Want to learn how to waste time and lose money? You're in the wrong place. Ken Wilkinson left the hustle and bustle of Queens, New York, and started a life of his own creation in Rolla, Missouri. Before he hit the age of 35, he became a father, managed to build an over 800 credit score, purchased 2 homes, getting 14 years at one company while working 2 part-time jobs, and creating his own mobile application with over 1 million downloads. This man understands that time is of the essence and is teaching it to the world. Please welcome the author of Winning Seconds, Ken Wilkinson.
All right. Yeah.
That's you.
Clap for you on that introduction.
That is all you, 100%.
When you say it like that, yeah, it sounds really good.
It is good. I could only pull it from your history. That's all.
Right.
Ken, I have been wondering for a long time, how did you get to Rolla, Missouri?
Oh, well, see, it's Rolla.
Rolla.
You're right. That's English for, people just pronounce stuff different in different places. But friends moved down here because somebody was stationed at the Army base in St. Roberts. And they ended up getting a place down here. And the cost of living is so much lower here than the city. Like, they got a 2-bedroom with a balcony and a little lake in the back for like $400 a month. In the city, you could just rent out a room or just a basement for that much. So I was like, excuse me? I was like, I'll be there in a month. And I was gone. So my pop was like, I'm leaving. I was like, over here sounds better. So I just took off. No questions asked.
That's wild. And you didn't have any family or anything out there?
I mean, I have family, but everybody's always working on what they're working on. So when you want to do things yourself, you just have to get up and go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's always been my thing. So if I want to get something done, I can't wait on them, or I have to try to wait for them to try to move with me or anything like that. Because most of the time you just have to take that leap by yourself. So that's what I did.
That's dope. So how is Rolla, Missouri different from the place you grew up?
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, it's a smaller community in the city. It's just a bunch of big buildings, and out here it's more like Long Island, like suburbs. Everything's more laid back, it's slower. Actually, the minimum wage out here was lower when I came down here, so I got paid less when I got here, which really didn't make that big of a difference because the cost of living was so much lower that it just balanced itself out and was still great. So
right.
Within like a month or two, I was able to get my own place and everything, something I wouldn't be able to do in the city unless I had, like, some people usually group up, 2 people, 3 people to try to get a place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Out here, you could get it done by yourself really quick.
Yeah. Would you say the minimum wage in New York could not have created the same life that minimum wage can create in Missouri?
No. I mean, some people might have made it work because sometimes it just comes down to connections. But at the rate that it happened for me, I don't think I would have been able to do it the same in New York. So sometimes you just have to venture out of your comfort zone to make things happen.
I agree.
In New York, my insurance on my car was like $500 a week. My insurance out here was $75. So that's a big difference.
Oh, yeah. I experienced the same thing because when I moved to Georgia from New York, I had liability insurance at $306 a month, $306 a month for just liability, not full coverage. Moved to Georgia and I got liability again. It was a little rinky-dink car, and it was $51. So
it does make a difference in the area you're in, just based off supply and demand. Since there's a lot of people in the city, they charge you a lot more, and it's more high risk in the city as well. Yeah. Just getting out of such a crowded environment does make a big difference. Everything was lower here when I shipped up.
I agree. Jumping into something that is in your book that I found interesting and have had similar experiences. You mentioned that you were poorly educated. Why did you say that? What makes you say education was poor?
Right. School, I mean, it teaches you some things, but getting into the world, a lot of those things, you really don't. You do need your education. I'm not going to say you don't need your education, but there's a lot of things in the world they don't cover in school. Like the credit game holds a lot of people back. So you don't figure out how to do your credit, you're not going to be good at that. And just working on your personality with other people, they don't really teach you that in school either. And that's a big thing to learn because you're always dealing with people.
Absolutely.
So the overall school learning is okay, but there's so much more when you get out here, especially when you're playing politics. Nobody does politics in school. And that's a big part of the world once you get outside. Who's and what you know and what you're going to do to get in that position. And all of those things you have to pick up on. You just be left in the dark.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I turned 18 and was able to have credit, I immediately took the first chance I got and ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. Did you have a similar experience, or did you like come out the gate kind of moving upward and making it a good score?
The first thing I did, I studied credit before I used it. So I never really had bad experience with credit because I didn't never really wanted to buy anything that wasn't with my money. I always saved to buy what I wanted, and if I couldn't buy it with my money, I just forgot it and needed it. So for the credit, I went to a bank and I talked to one of the creditors, and I got a small little loan. And what I basically did was you pay on your credit, and then a few weeks later, you pay it off with your regular cash. So I wasn't really using my credit for purchases. I was just playing a game that they created because it's just see you using your credit. It makes it look good without you using it all. So you pay 1 week with the credit and you pay next week with your cash. And I just kept doing it like that for like a year or two, and my credit just kept going up from there. So I never had a bad time with credit because I just played the game they created.
That's dope. So what did you use to educate yourself about credit? Because I didn't know anything about it. All I ever heard was make sure your score is good, but that meant nothing to me. So what did you do to learn about it?
Sometimes I would just go to YouTube, and that's like, I call it YouTube University. And I'll just pick up on stuff from there because there's thousands of videos on YouTube on things you can learn. And I didn't want to have my credit ruined because I know I needed that to get a car. I know I needed that to get a house. It does play a part. And when you go to some electric companies, they'll give you a hard time about getting your electricity turned on if your credit's bad. Sometimes you have to put down a really big deposit. And some places it's $300. And one of the towns out here, I think it's like $500 if your credit's bad. So you playing the credit game, you definitely have to do it right, or it'll hold you back. But yeah,
absolutely,
learn that stuff.
Absolutely. So explain to the people, what is a just in case?
Just in case is emergency fund or emergency whatever for anything, because some people just do everything last minute and don't have anything to fall back on. You always have to have a fallback plan because I didn't really have one. There was no parents to really depend on. So I mean, I have parents, but they're still trying to figure their things out themselves. So I would feel bad trying to pull them down myself. So I was figured I had to do things to where I won't have to fall back on my parents all the time and put all my blame on them. So I was like, if I get everything sorted out with my just in case, if I'm going to make a step forward and that fails, what's going to happen and how do I pick myself up from there? So before I ever made that step, I always had a backup plan to go again. Like, okay, I'm going to try this, but if this don't work, I know I could try this instead. So it just, it's good. I mean, it probably held me back in some places because I never really jumped all the time real quick. I always had to be like, okay, let me think about this before I do it because there's not too many fallbacks I could do. So if I fall back, it has to be on my own and I have to still be okay.
Right.
Just in case. I mean, and I could just go so deep with how that works out in so many different ways that we could be here all day doing how just in case is important. But
It is. Quick question. How old were you when you moved out there?
I was 06. probably, what was that? 19.
21? I don't know if you're older or younger than me.
But yeah, it was back in 06.
06, okay. So, all right, so you came up with this just in case, and reading in your book, you were saying that you put away 3 months of savings for all your expenses,
Right.
Rent, car, just everything. I looked up on Yahoo Finance. They did a study, I think it was in 2019. If it wasn't 19, it was 18, that 58% of Americans don't have more than $1,000 in their savings account. Now, there may be some people who say, look, I just don't make enough to have a just in case. What would you say to that? Does that make sense to you? What do you think they should do?
I mean, some people don't make enough. Some people put themselves, like you said, when you got your credit card, you just went out there and you went crazy. So, and a lot of people do, because there's a lot of things you want growing up. So as soon as you get the chance, you run out there and do it. Me, I was like, if I survive this long without it, I don't really need it. So most of the stuff I just went without. So there's a lot of things I overlooked that I wanted, and I just had to make that sacrifice in the beginning. Like, I could always get it later when I level out. But for right now, I need to build a foundation to where I can run back to my parents' house, because I didn't want to go back. I just wanted to go for it. So even if I went forward slow, that was the best way to go. I never wanted to go backwards. So they could have the funding there, but there's a lot of things that does take effect. I mean, some people feel guilt from taking care of their parents and stuff. Some people do have to do that. So there's a lot of give and take in that area, but some people can save more. I mean, you got the expensive dinners and stuff, like I said, which I can't do, which I call fireworks. Just having a humble night where you just eat a little sandwich or something goes a long way to where you can save some extra money, to where you have that comfort zone. And then you could go out and have really good dinners without worrying about it, because you could have a really good dinner and then the next day your car's messed up and you're like, dang, I don't have the money for it.
Right.
And that one day sets you back even more days, because now you can't get to work, and now you're not making money, and you don't have money on top of that. So now you way behind. So making sure your car is okay, making sure your rent's gonna be okay, all of that, and comfort to where when those things do pop up, you have it. And when you do have it, you could do other things without worry. Right. And that helps you move forward a little bit more without pulling you back.
That's dope. You were very intelligent at, I think, 19, 20 years old, making sure you had the credit. I was not thinking about those things at all at that time. I wanted things, and I did, elevate myself to what I thought was a good level. But of course, like I told you, I ruined my credit. What things in your life prior to building yourself up, what things in your life led you to that? Did you have bad experiences, or did your parents instill that in you?
I think it was just mostly me just paying attention, because I watch and learn a lot. Because I don't really listen to music. I'm always thinking like, what if? So all day in my mind, I'm doing like Inception, pretty much. If you've seen that movie, like, okay, if this happens, then I gotta make sure this happens, and this happens, I gotta make sure it happens. And I'm doing that all day, because I don't listen to music. So I'm always thinking, if I do this, what's gonna happen next? Just cause and effect, pretty much. So I think me doing that the whole time, because my friends could tell you, like, I spent my whole life just doing this. Every time they had a plan, I'd be like, so you do that, what if this happened? And they'd be like, I ain't think about that. I was like, you got to go back.
Right.
A lot of people do things without thinking and then be sorry later. I never wanted to be sorry later. Like I said, that could have held me back from having some great opportunities, but I had to just do the what ifs before I just leaped out there.
That makes sense. Very methodical. Yes.
Just paying attention to your surroundings and what's going on. So if you're gonna make steps out there, you gotta be careful, because they can really, really set you back.
So you brought yourself up and increased your score, made sure you were financially literate, and then went out there and not only bought your first house, but 2 houses. Right. How old were you when you bought these houses?
While I was 30, was it 20? Yeah, I was 30 when I bought the first one. And then I was 35 when I bought the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just bought that in case of inflation because I had the money to do it just for my son. So he could have a head start in life. So I moved all the way across the US just so I could find a place to be comfortable to where I wasn't underneath my parents anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I know kids want that space when they do get old enough. So he'll have that privilege to where he could get a decent head start, and he could always build from there if he wants, but it'll never be an issue to where he'd have to struggle to find some place to live because his parents is fed up and just put him out, because that happened a lot in the neighborhood we came from. Like a lot of our friends my friends, they got put out when they hit 18 and they just go figure it out. You go to the army, you go to your friend's house, so they get put out and get sent to another friend's house, and they don't have all the things figured out themselves. Their parents don't have it figured out themselves, so they just throw the kid out there, and they don't know how things work. They don't have credit yet, so
Right.
There's a lot going on.
There is. I'm in the car business currently, and I see a lot of that coming into the dealership, people who just are not financially literate. And I do my best to educate people when they come in. I'll ask them about their score. Do they know what it is? And I have had some people who have said, well, my credit's great. I've never used it. Right. Right. That's not true. You know, if anybody watching that doesn't know the difference between good credit and no credit is just as bad as bad credit. You have no history. You have not established yourself. The banks are less likely to lend you money to make any purchase. Furthermore, I work in a BMW dealership. So if you're coming for a $40,000 to $70,000 vehicle, it's likely not going to happen with no credit.
Right.
And so I try to educate them before even if they don't move forward with me, that if they leave this dealership and they go elsewhere, that at least they know what to expect. And if they can't buy a car today, they can't. And then down the line, they know what they need to do. And I saw a video of your son years ago. I think he was like 2, maybe. And his reading was phenomenal. I'm watching this kid just flipping through the books, and you're hyping him up and high five every word he says. And I can see that you take a lot of time to pour into him and teach him these things. And I do think it's very phenomenal that you have a house ready for him. And I'm sure you'll teach him the game as far as finances are concerned so that he is well prepared. Is that something you saw in your community growing up? Parents pouring into their children the financial literacy aspect? Do you think kids were ready by the time they reached 18 like we did?
Not really. I didn't see much of that stuff at all, because a lot of our parents had 2 jobs or just a single parent, and they worked so much that they weren't really around that much. So spending extra time with the kids, really they didn't do that to make sure they learn. Usually you have an older sibling trying to teach a younger sibling, and they probably had the same thing when they were coming out, where nobody really spent time with them trying to figure that stuff out. So I made sure that, and I spent a half an hour with them at least every day, because time-wise, repetition leads to stuff you remember and things. So every day I try to work with him for at least a half an hour, and I did it every day. From even when he couldn't understand, I was still telling him these things, because I know they're listening all the time, because it's part of their environment. So every day for a half an hour at least, I'll make sure he's learning something. He could play all day after that, but he at least takes some time out to learn daily, because that will help you in the long run.
Absolutely. It's important to pour into your children. And the fact that you know that you don't need to spend 2-3 hours. It can be 30 minutes. And first of all, when they're little, they're really going to turn their ears off after a while anyway. They're not listening anymore.
Right. And a lot of things it's going to look like, it's not going to look like, they're not going to understand what you're telling them, because it's random things that don't make any sense. It's just a little part of a big world, but you have to start with the little pieces so you could get to a bigger piece. So you just little by little just feed them the information, and once they get one piece done, you can move on to the next piece, and you just build from there. So yeah, by 2, he was reading really well. He'd even pick up on the emphasis in the story, do things like that, because I wanted to make sure he knew how to read. And then we would work on math, because math is a big problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. Like you, I taught my son how to read very early. I want to say he was 3 months when I started showing him letters. It's like on these big cards.
Right.
As soon as his eyes could focus on something, I was showing him I was showing him letters. He's not going to be able to tell me what it is, and he's not going to say A because he's 3 months old. He's struggling to hold his head up. But eventually he'll get it. And he was, I think like 9 to 10 months, maybe about 9 months, when he could point out a letter that I had shown him. But it's just that repetition, Right. Eventually he knows your face. Why can't he learn a letter or a word? So I think it's dope that you pour into your son in that way. Switching gears a little bit. So I've checked your LinkedIn. You have 4 jobs. What are the 4 jobs, Ken?
I mean, I do a little bit of everything, because math-wise, I was like, do I really need a second job, or do I need to make a certain amount to pay something off at the end of the month? So my goal was, you sign up for Uber and DoorDash and stuff like that. That stuff is part-time work, but my goal was just to make, when I started, was to just make $20 a day. And that don't sound like a lot to anybody, but times 30, that's $600 by the end of the month. And most of the times I could just make that in 1 hour a day. So I would have the extra money to do the things I want to do. So I could work the regular job, do one of those, and still get ahead, so where I'm not locked into some position after work every day. But most of the time I just work, because hanging out, I feel like that held me back. When I do hang out, now I could just spend whatever I want, and the people are like, oh, we don't got it like that, kid.
They didn't see the backstory.
Right. They didn't realize I was just working all the time. So when people get off work, like, I'm tired, they go home, sit down. As soon as I get out of work, I log on to one of those apps, and I'll go back to work. Yeah. And it helps.
So I was blown away when I found your app, My Plays Vibe. I think that's the whole name of it, right? My Plays Vibe.
Right. Yep.
I'll be honest with you. So I saw Mo Plays. I know that's your email, because I've emailed you before. And so going through your YouTube, I saw Mo Plays again. So I said, let me look on the app and see what it's about. So I see the first app, My Plays Vibe, and it has 1 million downloads. And honestly, I kept scrolling. I was like, where's Mo Plays? Because it says My Plays. I'm like, okay, but there has to be a Mo Plays. And I'm like, well, I don't see it. Let me look at this app. And there's, I think, creator info, and I see your email. I'm like, wait a minute. Ken doesn't even talk about this at all. But it's a dope app. It really is very good. Can you just explain for people that are watching what is on this app and what it can do for them?
My Plays, which was Mo Plays originally, but somebody bought out Mo Plays for over $10,000. So I sold that name because somebody wanted to use it, and that's how I ended up with My Plays.
Okay.
That was just my bounce back name to where, because when you do SEO and stuff like that on the internet and you have search results, people like that. So when you type your name in Google, when you show up in the first result, that's what something they were looking for. And I had that, and they wanted it, like, because that app created a lot of backlinks, since it's a very social app with 1 million downloads. I was like, if y'all want this, y'all gonna have to give me more than just like the $500 they offered me in the beginning.
Right.
And I understood Google marketing and all of that with the search results. So when they came to me talking about the application, I was like, oh no. I said, we're gonna have to change gears. I was like, this is not gonna work at all. But my plays, which it is now, I was supposed to change my email and stuff. Now that you caught me on that,
Sorry.
but I had so many people that has me underneath that one email account. I didn't want to lose it because a lot of people messaged me all into the night, and then one guy was like, "Are you a robot?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm just fast." Because no matter what time it was, if they send me an email, I'll email them right back since I'm always active. So and like I said, every second counts. You email somebody, you don't want to wait all day to hear anything. So I'm always I message them right back, and people like that, and I think that's why the app grew so fast. But it's an instrumental app and a music app, which is just all clean hip hop music. Because I would listen to music all day, and if it didn't have the N word or the B word or any vulgar language, I would add it into the application so people could listen to hip hop music without all of the negativity or anybody dying or anything like that. So it's like one of the cleanest apps out there. But like you said, I don't promote it that much. That was just something on the side. I just did. I mean, it's a great app.
Yeah.
But a lot of those things, I'm very low key with everything. I just do what I'm doing. I just keep going. I'm just laying seeds everywhere, and hopefully something will blossom.
That's dope. That's dope. My plays, if I'm assuming correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is one of your other streams of income. Would that be accurate? Okay, so you have multiple streams of income to just make sure you're set up.
Right.
I mean, that's respectable. That's what you should do. So who is famous?
Oh, well, famous, that's my rap persona that I came up with. And that's another thing I never really did because I rapped for a long time, or I would write, but I would never really rap because I really didn't want to be in the spotlight because I don't really like being on camera or doing stuff or bragging or that stuff like that. So all of that stuff I kept pretty low key until recently because we were debating. My friend's like, if you want, gotta rewind again. If we want to have more positive music, somebody has to put it out there. And he's like, me being low key doesn't do that. If I'm gonna be one of the main ones trying to do that, because when I'm in the car listening to stuff with my son, I was like, oh, you don't realize how many curse words are in these songs sometimes until your kid's in the car, and you're like, not that. And you're like, oh, this one's cool. And you get halfway through, you're like, oh, I forgot that one, and you're skipping everything. So me and my friend Daniel Davis, Mr. Positive Energy, we came up. It's like we'll just make our own music, so when we're in the car, we could listen with our family without having to skip that stuff. So we could just you could have clean music. I mean, the English has thousands of words that you could leave the profanity out and still get your point across. So we'll just keep making positive music till somebody picks up on it. And even if it's just a few people, that's better than nothing. So we're just laying the seeds out there and already inspired a few more people to do it, so it already has an effect on a few people. Just keeping the music clean and without bringing anybody else down. Working on our music.
That's dope. That's dope. And I agree with your friend. If you got a gift, let it shine. You know, you never know who you're gonna affect by it, and if you won't brag on you, your friend Keisha's gonna brag on you.
Well, thank you for the spotlight. Yeah, I'm just out just laying seeds. I was like, it'll just, whatever happens, it'll happen. I'm not really trying to be out there in the spotlight. I just like being behind the scenes.
Yeah. I was listening to your songs, and I like two of them in particular. The first thing I do like about your style overall, and I did notice that you don't curse. I think I noticed that a song or two in, I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I heard any curse words. I started really paying attention. I'm like, no, he's not cursing, which I like a lot. So the first thing I noticed was that you didn't curse. Then I noticed that you're a lyricist. I used to listen to a lot of rap growing up, and Nas was always my favorite rapper because he was, or is, a lyricist. And I'm biased. I think Queen's rappers are more lyrically inclined. You know, don't hate me, but that's where I'm from, and I just think Queen's rappers are more lyrically inclined. Anyway, so I hear that in you, and I love the lyrics. So there's two songs that I love. It was Holding On. Holding On is super positive. I love, love, love that song. And then Sitting Pretty. The beat on Sitting Pretty is sick. It is sick. I really enjoyed those two. You're welcome. Thank you. I love listening to it. I'm gonna listen to it again, and I can play it in my house.
Right. You could. That's why you can listen to it anywhere pretty much without complaining. I was like, that's why I told people, I was like, you don't really hear a lot of rap music when you go to restaurants because it's so vulgar that just they can't play it without beeping half of it out. I said so. Until there's a lot of music created to where it could be played in more popular areas, then their streams of income will be better without having to go out, because every time a record is played, they earn revenue. So when you can spread where your record can be played, they can make more money without having to go on tour all the time.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's so many levels to like I said, and all this stuff they don't teach you in school. So if you want to learn stuff, you really have to get out there and pay attention. So every time you get a chance to learn something, you should, which I do using YouTube University. Instead of listening to music like a half an hour a day with myself, I try to learn something, and it just keep going like that.
I do the same thing every morning. I work 45 minutes from home. Every morning when I'm in my car driving to work is YouTube University time. I'm either learning something about myself, learning something about an industry, or I listen to sermons often as well. But that 45 minutes is dedicated to me learning something. Don't call me in the morning. Do not call me. I'm learning something. You can call me when I'm leaving work, depending on how long the thing I was watching. If I'm watching it going home, still can't call me. But when I'm leaving work, feel free, but not in the morning. Not in the morning.
Locked in the morning.
Yeah, morning time, and I think you and I are very similar on that. Morning time is a good time to get things done. I wake up. I think I read in your book you're up at what, 4:30?
Right. Yep.
4:30. I'm up between 5 and 6. 6 is sleeping in, but anywhere between 5 and 6. And the house is quiet. Even my dog's asleep. He's not getting up. You know. But it's a good time to self-reflect, get some things knocked out, so that by 11 o'clock, half of your day is done, you know? Right. And I respect that about you. And I learned that from YouTube University, looking at wealthy people and the habits of wealthy people, and they get up early. Yeah. And I respect that about you, that you're up and you're at 'em, but you have a lot of things that you're doing, so you need to get up.
Well, yeah, I created all those things for myself, just being up. So yeah, getting up early was definitely helped me keep going with those things. But I always felt like sleeping was a waste of time. Even when we was just hanging out, my friends would sleep all day. I'd come just banging on this window, like, come on, get up, we got the whole day. Like, leave me alone, I like sleep. But yeah, you just leave away half your life just sleeping. You're not getting anything accomplished. So just being up and being active, you'll learn things. So even with my kid, I leave him to where he doesn't sleep as much as other kids. I know they're always like, kids need sleep, but even if he learns one thing, being up an extra hour every day, that's gonna put him way ahead of other kids, because you're not learning anything when you're sleeping. You're not picking up on anything. So I feel like you're behind if you're just sleeping. That's how I feel like. I'm behind when I'm sleeping, so I gotta be up.
I agree. I think I also read that you said you need 5 hours. Mine is 6. I need 6 hours of sleep. So I'll read at 10 p.m. till like 11. If I sleep at 11, then I'm up by 5. If I happen to read longer and I go to sleep at 12, then I'm up at 6. No alarm. I'm just up. I don't care what time I go to sleep. 6 hours, my body's done sleeping. And I see that you make sure you have a routine. You're asleep at a certain time, you're up at a certain time, and you're getting it rolling.
Right, yeah. Sometimes I like skip sleep because I was so busy that I like power nap at work on the table because when I was starting the Mo Plays app, which is my place now,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up outsourcing to somebody that lived in India because when I started it, it was with a U.S. company, but all of my emails came in at night, and I was just like, "Why I keep getting all these night emails?" So I switched to another company, and the same thing happened. So I was pretty much going through a middleman. So I just contacted the person like, "Why do I keep getting emails in the middle of the night when I talk to these guys during the day? They couldn't help me." So like, obviously they don't know what they're doing. Whoever is messaging me in the middle of the night was doing all the work. So after doing my own research, I figured out there's a bunch of sites online where it's like Fiverr now and Odash, you could just pay to have these people help you. So I started finding people to hire myself that I could work with without going through the middleman here. And I was up a lot of nights because we're in a different time zone.
Mm-hmm.
So when most people are going to sleep here, they're getting up. So I'm up all night. And if I do sleep, I'm in between sleeps where I'm helping them, then I take a power nap, then I get back and I'm helping them. Because if I sleep the whole night, nothing would get done because they're like, well, we didn't want to do it if you, because coding takes a long time. So that if you want to code this, it'll take 3 hours. So they wanted to make sure I was okay with it before they started working on it because I was paying people hourly and sometimes multiple people to code this stuff. And some people are 10 an hour, some people 15 an hour, some people are 20 an hour. So some of the money I was making was just going right back, but you have to reinvest sometimes for things to grow. And it was nobody on the app. It was probably like 1 install a day and 2 installs a day. So I was just up all night sometimes just talking to people on the other side of the world.
Mm-hmm. I think that's dope because you started this app 8 years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I started it twice. I ended it because online with hacking and stuff, that stuff really does happen. And it set me back. And not that I wasn't ready for it, I was just tired of it. Like, man, I'm up every night, coding this stuff. I'm trying to get this right. I'm trying to get this knocked out. And then somebody will wipe your whole website out. I don't have a backup. So pretty much I started over from scratch like 3 times.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
Talk about haters.
You start an online business, you want to make sure you have a lot of backups. You back up everything you can at least once a month, or every time you make a decent update of where you want to be, you better download a backup copy for yourself because somebody could just come and wipe your whole website out and you'll have nothing.
That's crazy. So, that's crazy that they're even just doing it just to do it. That's bananas.
I mean, it could be, there's always a good and a bad. So somebody could be out there hacking websites just so you could use somebody's website. So there's always got to be that good and the bad. So you're like, oh, you got a bunch of security websites. So that's somebody knock your website out.
Right.
People pay security companies to protect it and do online backups and stuff. So
bananas.
Even the online game was tricky too getting that started. So I had a lot of websites. I had a car repossession website. Anything to just give people information they could use all the time. And all of my websites I had probably 5, 6 websites at one time and they all just got wiped out.
Wow. Well, what I was getting at was, I didn't know that.
There's a lot.
Yeah. But what I was getting at was you mentioned the 1 or 2 downloads a day, and then you had the hurdles of, rebuilding your website after it's been knocked out. And I really think it's admirable that you had those humble beginnings and you stuck with it. Did you think back then that today you'd have 1 million plus downloads?
No. I pretty much started the website for my friends because they made instrumentals. So I was like, why we have to keep, because you get on these other websites that's been up for a long time, it takes a long time for you to be found. So I was like, if we want to get in that, we have to pay hundreds of dollars a day just to be put in the front. So I created a website. I created that app and a website to where when you put your instrumentals up, it shuffles through every time somebody opens up the app, even with the music. So there's no top person in the app, everybody will get equal exposure. So if you're not good, you're not good enough. If you're good, people will follow you. So it'll still work out. But every time you open up the application, it shows you a different set of people. So it won't be number one, number two, and number three forever all the time. It'll always be a different person every time you open. And I could put us in there so we could get exposure without being unfair to everybody else. So they could get the exposure they need without spending hundreds of dollars, and so could everybody else. And that's why I started it. I started it pretty much to help my friends out.
That's pretty dope. And you have most of it is free, right? I know there's some in-app purchases that you could make, but a lot of it is free.
It's mostly free. The in-app purchase is really to remove the ads, because some people hate ads.
Yeah.
But the ads help pay for the app without me having to charge anybody. So that's the point of apps. I know some applications do overdo it to where you're just, most of the time you're just spending your time just closing ads. But you try to make it to when you make a download or when it first opens, to where it's not that intrusive to where you're like, I hate this app. But some people still like ads, so they could pay for
to get them removed. Right. But it's dope that you have that it's in essence free. If you want to watch the ads, you don't have to pay a dime, and it's not that many ads at all. And they have so much access to music and instrumentals. I bet you didn't know that there was such a market for it, but here it is.
Yeah, I mean, on YouTube, you would see, you get an instrumental and people are always like, hey, can I download this? Can you send me a download link? Can you send me the download link? I was like, so I just make something to cut all of that out, so where people could download it without having to fight with that producer all the time. So I mean, most of my content, like, because since I was always on YouTube, most of the content came from there. So I just put it in an app so where people could easily download it. And that's where a lot of my emails came in, where people were like, hey, give me this one. And a lot of stuff I didn't know. So I would roll out of my bed in the middle of the night and go find this instrumental and download it and upload it to the app just so somebody could have it like 2 a.m.
Right.
And people would message me like, oh my God, having this app saves my life or something. They'll be in the house writing the music instead of doing whatever they're doing. So they always send me a bunch of appreciation letters sometimes, just saying, thank you so much for doing this, because they just want to make music so they can express themselves.
That's dope. That's dope. Music is another form of poetry. It's an art, and a release for a lot of people. And even if you don't make music and you just take it in, that's still a form of release for whoever's consuming it. So that's pretty fire. So you added author to your list of titles. Tell me about the book and why you felt the need to put it out.
Well, Winning Seconds was, my job started a 2-second lean, which is a real popular book about saving time at the workplace, where we wasn't overstepping to do stuff. But some of the books, they didn't really give you that much information on it. It just, I went to this place and talked to this guy. He was a top seller or whatever. We had coffee, and then the book just went all over the place. And my boss wanted me reading these all the time. I was like, no. I said, I could write a better book than this in a month. And he's like, okay. He's like, you write a better book than that in a month, I'll buy it. So that's how the book came around. So, because I was like, I've been saving seconds for a long time. And for me to just write it down and it came out so fast, I surprised myself how fast I wrote it. Since I wrote it like within a month's time, had it published and came up with the cover and all that. But my boss pretty much inspired the book, because he kept giving me all those books, and when I read them, they're just supposed to be about saving time. And then one of them, the main one, was a 1-minute entrepreneur.
Okay.
I didn't learn anything really in that book.
Would that be by the same author of the 1-Minute Manager?
Could be. Well, I'm not gonna say it is, because I've seen a lot of them say 1 minute something, and then there's a whole bunch of different people. I think that just that 1 minute, it was such a good sales pitch, that 1 minute, because everybody's trying to save time. So that 1 minute thing, people just ran with that title, and a lot of people use it.
Gotcha.
After reading that book, I was like, this is not good. bring down anybody else's work because he sold a lot of copies, but I was like, this is trash. I was like, this book I'm gonna put. And it wasn't a big book, but I was just like me reading it. I was just like, I can't. I said, I can't with this book. I said, I'm gonna write a better one for you. I said, and if anything, the people at the job can read mine instead of theirs because that really gets you. Because all of their books are focused on work.
Mm-hmm.
Mine starts at home
Mm-hmm.
and then leads to work, to where you just, once you feel organized and you're feeling better about yourself when you go out there, you will do better because you don't have all of that on your mind holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
Just writing a book, like I dedicated it to my boss because if he didn't give me all of those lousy books, I would have never.
I feel you. I feel you. I do. Your book seems more like it's definitely about time management, but it seems more about improving your own effectiveness in your own life. So not just about work, like you said, but when you're doing your groceries and cooking, timing it out so that you do have time to sit down and relax at some point. And by the time that you do relax, you're not missing anything. You're not leaving anything undone. So I did get that from the book. So here's your book. It's a beautiful cover. I love the cover of the book, and it's very informative. So you and I had an exchange via inbox after you put the book out. I bought your book, and then you were giving it away for free. And and that's fine. That's fine because you know that I wanted to buy your book. I didn't want it for free. I wanted to support you. And so I saw you giving it away for free, and I promptly got in your DMs and said, "Stop giving it away for free." And you told me very quickly, like, no, that's what I'm doing. You put me in my place. I was like, okay, you're right. But tell us, what was your motivation behind giving it away for free?
All right. I already feel like I'm doing okay. I don't really need to charge for everything. As you got a big company like Google, everything was free. They copy everything and they put it out for free, and all they do is just put a little ad on it. So Google made billions of dollars doing a lot of things for free. Because when you put yourself out there, like if I get the book out for free, I can get it out faster than me trying to sell it to everybody.
Right.
So my exposure, and if they do believe in a book good enough, that'll help propel it. There's so many people in this world, so if I gave it to 10,000 people, it's still a small impact on how many people there are in the world. That's all. So you could do stuff for free, and you'll still get the payback in the end. So you don't have to charge people everything. Sometimes giving stuff for free, just good karma, and it'll just help itself. So I just felt like I don't have to charge everybody all the time. So and it comes up for free every now and again. So every time it comes up for free, I'll just put it for free just so somebody could get it, because maybe I'll help somebody. And I know you were like 99 cents. Everybody should have that, but some people don't got it. They're in the negatives.
I understand. After you got on me, which you did, I understood. I understood. And I know you understood that I wanted you to make the most out of your product, out of what you poured your heart and soul into. But I get what you mean in helping people and giving them that access, because you're right. Not everybody has the 99 cents, and they still need the tools and the skills that you provide in the book. So I do admire that. And I'm glad you didn't listen to me.
Well, I mean, especially as people I know, I don't really, a lot of things, that's another reason I don't really post though, because I don't really like trying to do business with friends pretty much. Because people always feel like, oh, you're my friend, you gotta support me. And people have their own obligations. So to make people feel guilty about supporting you, I always feel like if I go to them, they're going to feel like, oh, man, he forced me to buy stuff, because I'm always doing something. So if I did that every month, they'd be like, hey, Ken's doing something else. Got to get Ken money, or he's going to be mad at us. So if I'm doing anything and it involves my friends or they're close, they can have it for free. Everybody else, you probably have to pay me. But yeah, I don't want anything in my little circle area with my friends. They have anything, those could be the test sample people like, here, have one. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if the quality is good.
Mm-hmm.
But the second, third, or fourth one, if you really like it, like, okay, just help me out to be on the way. But in the beginning, I'll give you stuff for free, just because that's what most companies do. Most companies do. They send out samples to people,
Right.
just so they could get feedback. Because I'm not sure if the book's good or not. I can say it's good because I'm biased. I wrote it. But I was like, here you go. Let me know if you like it or not. And then if they tell me like, I like it, it's still not that good because it's your friend, so they might tell you stuff without wanting to hurt your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's always that give and take again. But yeah, with friends and stuff, most of the stuff I do will always be free. Like I never charge anybody for gas.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to go somewhere, I'll take you.
Right. That's dope. So you got your hand in a lot of different things. And I want to know, do you have an end goal, or is progress the name of the game?
It's really no. Most of the stuff I try to accomplish pretty much now is for my son. I feel like I always tell my friend, like, I'm done. Like, my credit's cool. I got a house. I got a decent 401k. Like, what else is there for me to do? I was like, because a lot of people, even at an older age, like at my job, they're still trying to get everything sorted out because their life balance and account and stuff is not right. The house is still, they owe a lot of money on it.
Mm-hmm.
So my main thing now is just helping my son learn and do stuff like that. But for me, I guess my only goal right now would be to put out more positive music, and that's what I've been trying to do, something that's not too bad.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. What does downtime look like for you? Or does it exist?
Downtime, I'm not. Oh well, I guess if anything, downtime would be me playing on my Xbox with my little brother.
Okay. So is your little brother? Oh well, I don't play video games. So your little brother's in New York or close to you?
I think he's in Ohio.
Okay. In my head, I'm thinking about like when I was little and you had to play it sitting next to each other.
Right,
I forget.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah, that's probably the only time I'm probably sitting still. But even sometimes when I was doing that, in between the game, I'll be like, I gotta go, and I get a Uber or something. He'd be like, man, when did you stop? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm trying to get fund enough to start this project. So I was like, for the next month or so, we're on the game. I'm just in between time, just so I can make that little bit of money and get back. So even sometimes my downtime is interrupted because I'm working on something.
It sounds like you enjoy the things you work on, though.
Well, yeah, you got to enjoy the things you work on. And the stuff I started on my own, and nobody forced me to do it. So,
right.
Like I said, I'm just planting seeds, trying to create things. Like the book itself, just the barcodes alone are $300 for one barcode.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, man, I'm sorry. So I'll have to sell like 800 copies at 99 cents or something like that, because Amazon takes his fee and everybody else take their fee, and then they go to my PayPal and they take a fee out. So by the time they get back to me, that's another reason I was like, the book could be free, because
they're not even worth all the headache.
I'm not gonna really make that much off of it unless I sell it for like $15, $20, and people are like, who does the guy think he is?
Well, you know my stance. I recommend it, and I would pay you again for the book. I would.
I heard you, but yeah, it's a lot that goes into it.
No, I get it. No, and I respect that. I do.
Helping people, help somebody out. I gave it to a few people, and they're like, "Hey, man, this is really awesome." He's like, "I'm giving you $5. I like the book so much." So,
right. What do you hope that people gain from it?
I just financial stuff, just improving themselves pretty much. Because a lot of people, like I said, they don't understand themselves, because they never took the time to. They're just so like, oh, I gotta get money and pay for this. They don't spend enough time taking care of themselves. If you don't spend enough time taking care of yourself, everything else around you is gonna fall apart as well. So once you get yourself centered, you understand things a little better, you could go out there and handle yourself better and be better to where you're not just getting mad and chasing the wrong people off just because you got off to a bad start that day. So once you get yourself leveled out, everything starts feeling a little easier because you don't have all that stress.
Right.
Stress make people do a lot of things they got to apologize about later. And I don't want to be going around like, oh, I'm sorry, I blew up at you earlier for whatever little petty thing that happened. Because a lot of people arguments, they're never really anything that much. It's always something, a little petty thing that happened. That's why I said just a few seconds could change your whole day. So
yeah, that's true.
With yourself to make everything better. After a while, you be like, okay, I think I got this figured out. You won't let that many things bother you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always like calm, confident, and compliments is something I always do because you got people around you and, you know, they're working hard. So a little compliment every now and again, just randomly, it can make somebody's day.
Right.
And just being calm, being around because you don't know what they're going through. I mean, you could be having a great day and they could just be like, oh, I hate everything. I hit my toe this morning. You don't know what's going on in their lives, or somebody, the neighbors was drunk, arguing all night. It kept them up, just frustrated about something. So just being calm, you just listening sometimes to people instead of spewing your problems on them. They could unload. So it helps. So it can help you and the people around you to where just everything just feels better.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really know you like that. Well, we didn't know each other like that when we were younger. We knew each other, but we weren't friends really. We didn't hang out or anything like that. But whenever I saw you, you did exude this calmness about you. And it seems that you've taken that and amplified it over life. Now, again, we didn't hang out. I didn't know what you were doing when I didn't see you. But I did see like a certain piece about you. I remember you being funny. I remember you being goofy and laughing and all that stuff. But you did have this calm about you. I never saw you rowdy or anything like that. And you seem to have just grown more into that as you've gotten older. What is something that we can all hope to see from you in the near future, far future? What can we look out for?
The main thing I'm doing right now is just putting out more music. I mean, people do message me like, "Oh man, this is awesome!" They're like, "How long you been rapping?" I was like, "Long time." I just never really cared about it. So mainly, what I'll be doing is putting more music out. And I was supposed to finish my other book, but I haven't done it yet, which is, what is the name of it? It's about pretty much math is life.
Okay. You gotta let me know when that comes out. I definitely want one.
Yeah, it's all about math because everything leads back to math. Science is math. Just understanding, you got rent, everything, math. So that's and this book was partially, I did that partially in this book, but I took out a lot of parts of it because, like I said, because a lot of it just went into numbers, and I ain't really wanted to be like, what is this guy talking about? So I had to reread that book myself like 5-6 times. I just can't imagine somebody making a big old novel and just halfway through like, oh, this script isn't right, and you gotta go back through and fix all that. For me, it took a long time, well, not a long time, because it's only a month before I finished the book. But and that's another thing I wanted to do, was just accomplish things. So even before I started writing, I went on YouTube. And it was like how to finish a book quickly, or steps to making a book, or what you need to finish a book quickly. Because some people spend a whole year writing a book, and then it's not any good, and they'll just give up. So I was like, I need to make sure I'm writing every day. So on my break, I was writing. If I was in the car, I would use audio, and I'll just talk to where I was putting content into a notepad that I'll just go through and fix later.
Right.
So yeah, I should be finishing a book, and I should be making more music. I have one chapter left because I try to break it down to where it was like a math equation, like the problem, the solution, the problem, stuff like that, to where there's 4 chapters of math, to where another thing where you can help people make better decisions. So where they do have money instead of wasting it all, because a lot of people don't pay attention. Even though if they're good at math, they don't put all of the pieces together.
Right, right. I love how you set goals for yourself and you keep accomplishing them. I've had conversations with a few people about goal setting and accomplishing goals. And just in my own experience, it becomes addictive. Especially when you accomplish your first goal, the first thing you ever do for yourself. It can become just exciting to set more goals. And so when I'm talking to people who are just getting to the place to set their very first goal that they've set for themselves, you know, I talk them out of the scariness. I'm like, yes, it's scary. Okay, yes, there's a possibility it could fail, but you have to think about how it could win and what things you need to put into place and the little steps that you need to take to get there. And then once you knock down that first goal, it's like, well, you know, what's stopping me from doing the rest of them? And you are truly a great example of just setting it up and knocking it down. And I definitely commend you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Where can people find Winning Seconds?
Winning Seconds is available on Amazon. Well, I found a website. I added this to that website. This is like in Barnes and Nobles. I added it to almost 50 online stores, but it's on the most popular ones. It's on Amazon, it's on iTunes, and it's on Google Play.
Okay, dope.
And 50 other stores I'm not even sure of. I just hit a button and it just sends it everywhere.
Dope.
And I think it's 99 cents on every platform.
Dope.
But yeah.
And then where can they find the My Plays app, My Plays Vibe app?
Now, My Plays Vibe is only in the Google Play. I mean, iPhone. I did have it on there at one time, but it's not there anymore. So it's only Android app at the moment.
Okay, cool. And then Famous, F4MU5, is how you spell it, right? Is your YouTube channel.
Yep.
That's
it on almost every platform.
Okay, cool. I definitely recommend all those things. I do, honestly, and I'm not just saying that because I know you or because, you know, we're doing an interview. I was truly impressed. I really, really like the music a lot. I listen to a lot of your songs. I'm going to get through them. I probably have like 3 or 4 songs left to listen to, but I really, really like the music, and I think everybody would. So I definitely think they should get the book, check out your YouTube, just figure out which one they like, if not all. And the next book that's coming out, how can we look out for that? Where would we look to see when it comes out?
I'm here looking for my phone. I have it on my phone. It'll be on that. I'll just post on my Facebook again. But like I said, I'll probably just do 1 or 2 posts, and then after that.
Okay. Well, if you have a picture or anything, send it to me, and I'll add it to the end of this video so they can see it and look out for it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's all about math and getting your numbers right, just from the beginning to the end, where you could just level out to where you can get your credit and all that good, because all that matters. Improving in life, and trying to get a home to where you could just build equity to where you could pass it to somebody else, because we didn't have a lot of that growing up. So somebody has to start it.
Yes, I agree. Somebody's got to do it, and I'm grateful that you're doing it. You know, I didn't have that access. Like I told you, I was told to just have good credit. That nothing when you don't know what it is. You never know what you don't know. Ken, I truly appreciate you coming on. You are definitely opening eyes to how to live a more efficient lifestyle and be productive. And I'm grateful to know you, and I'm excited for what you have coming up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
The bigger picture is still apparent. It's still apparent. So like for me, the biggest part was to make sure that anything that I thought affected me throughout my life, I try my best not to do, and to go over extend myself on the other way to make sure that they don't feel the hurt or know the pain that I felt, where there's enough pain that they're going to feel on their own. But if I can stop what I know hurts, that has to happen. My dream is mine. God gave me my dream. So he put this thought into my head. No one can tell me that it should be smaller, because God said, Tag, you need to change every life of every elderly in a nursing home. That's mine. It's drive. It's, I can't fail. I can't fail now. I have 2 human beings that I'm responsible for. There's no way I can fail.